Angel, where do you poop? Okay, be careful, okay? Don't poop. Okay, hold it.
Because they said they got so bad that they were not functional. That's pretty bad. I mean, that's not a good looking porta potty. I agree, but if your job is to bring in porta potties, then you just bring in a new one. You swap them out. You do whatever it takes. Because when you have this many people, guess what? You're gonna have some people, that need to use the restroom. And as sanctuary cities, what are you doing? Taking away their restroom. And that's how you end up with New York City neighborhood turned into giant toilet as migrants litter park with poop, leave cups of urine on doorsteps. Migrants outside East Village Intake Center have been crappy neighbors. New York Post, you guys are killing it. You guys kill me. Since November, thousands of adult migrants have waited outside the former St. Bridget's School on East 7th Street and overflow into Tompkins Park Square to score a bed in the city's shelter system after their 30-day and 60-day stay limits expire. So that 60-day limit has now been, no, that's Chicago, isn't it? Chicago is extended out. This is New York, never mind. But S hit the fan and the sidewalks and streets last week when the city parks department yanked a trio of porta potties from the park. So, and these were the only porta potties, and their reasoning was the loos had become so filthy that workers gave up on maintaining them, according to locals, because you have too many people using them. It's like a concert, like a big concert, outdoor concert. You know what you have? You have lines and lines and lines of porta potties. Because when people come out of the show, they gotta go, and if you don't have places for them to go, they're gonna go wherever. And that's human reality. So this is the story about, hey, we're welcoming Sanctuary City. What are you guys doing just crapping everywhere? Well, we've got no jobs, we've got no money, we got to stay close to these centers because we need to get our ID, we need to get our work visa, we need to get all this paperwork. You're making us stay here. Where do you want us to go to the restroom? I mean, it's a legit, it's a legit concern, and it's literally happening. There was a cup of what I thought was somebody's discarded hot chocolate. There turned out to be not hot chocolate, said street cleaner John Cashman. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. This is a tough story because people got to go, and you got to go, right? On warmer days, it can smell like a toilet over here, and not a well-kept toilet. This is what you get when you declare yourself a sanctuary city, and then you're not prepared. And then you've got Greg Abbott doing the Lord's work and just bringing thousands of people in that want to come to your city because you've declared yourself a sanctuary city. This is literally what you wanted. And yet you don't have the infrastructure, you don't have the planning, you don't have the leadership. I mean, look at, let's go Brandon Johnson in Chicago. He is literally being hospitalized over panic attacks. That guy is just way in over his head. He has no background in running anything that I'm aware of other than his mouth, right? I mean, I feel bad for that guy, but all of these mayors, Eric Adams, let's go Brandon Johnson, mayor of Bowser in Washington, D.C., they were all on the front end of this. It's going to be the greatest kumbaya moment ever. We're going to take in all these illegal aliens that Texas doesn't want, that Florida doesn't want, that Arizona doesn't want. We're going to take them in. It's just going to be that big kumbaya moment. We're just going to all, we're all humanity together. And then they realized humanity poops and humanity goes number 2 and humanity takes a whiz. Oh, yeah. And yeah, we're going to take away the porta potties because, they were ruining them. All right. Well, this is called Planning 101. Urban Planning 101 that does not go well. Here's a picture of a guy. He's got to go. This guy's got to go when you took away his porta potty. This guy right here. He's got to go. We've all been there, right? I was driving in between, when I was down in Texas, I was driving in between Eagle Pass and San Antonio, and I had to go. And so, you peel off. But there, you've literally got miles and miles and miles of just brush on the side. No real trees, just, it's Texas out there country. It's not like this guy right here who's in a dense urban environment, right? My scenario worked out quite well because I wasn't going to be able to hold it for another hour until my next town, wherever that was. So, in the past week, locals and volunteers said that they've spotted cups filled with urine around the park's entrance near the former school, along with human-sized poop in tree beds. Well, that's because it was human poop. We got human-sized poop in tree beds and between parked cars. They got to go somewhere. What are you guys doing? You need to bring in some more porta potties. You need to open up some more restrooms. You're a sanctuary city. Not only do you need to open up your homes and your apartments to house these people, you need to let them in and use your restrooms. This is unsanitary. This is a mark against humanity. This is downright undignified of New Yorkers to let these people just poop in the park. You can't have that. You got to have some sense of civility. And what I'm seeing here, we've got none. This situation needs to be taken care of. Most of them want to pee in plastic cups rather than the ground, and they leave them on people's doorsteps, said longtime resident Garrett Rosso, 64, who said he spotted a dozen cups filled with urine. While it's admirable that they pee in a cup, it must be dudes, right? I would guess. I don't know. Just where your mind goes with these stories, right? You're like, okay, how does that work? Oh, I don't even really want to know. Is there any toilet paper being used? I'm not really sure. Oh, it's just gross, right? It's just gross. But it's a human function. That's the hardcore part about this, and this is what they wanted. These sanctuary cities, you wanted it, you got it, and now you got half a dozen cups filled with urine because they don't want to just pee in the middle of your park. They're doing it respectfully, but the end result is, what do you do with that? I mean, who do you bring out? San Francisco, you guys have got this one. What do you guys do in that case? I mean, yeah, send out the cleaner guy, right? One migrant had no problem taking an al fresco whiz on a tree Wednesday afternoon. That's our guy up here in this view right here. All right, he's going. Afternoon as the Post surveyed the stomach-churning scene. It doesn't have to be this way because, number one, you didn't have to proclaim yourself as a sanctuary city. You didn't have to do all that virtue signaling. But you know what? I'm glad you did because now you get to experience what those southern states have been experiencing for multiple years now. And now you're bitching about it. Now you're complaining about it. You know what's interesting is the actual numbers of the illegal immigrants that have been bused to these cities is actually not all that huge when you look at the sheer numbers of people. And, there's 8 million, maybe 10 million people that have come through the southern border into the United States since the beginning of our present administration. I mean, it's absolutely mind-blowing that we haven't had more stuff like this, that there hasn't been more instances of this, that there hasn't been more instances of crime and terrible things happening to residents, U.S. residents, by these illegals. Because just based on sheer numbers alone, 8 million of anything, you're going to have some bad apples, right? You're going to have some convicted felons. You're going to have some convicts. You're going to have some guys that have done some time. You're going to have some gals that have done some time. They come into the U.S., this is easy pickings. Things have not been good in Venezuela. I don't know if you knew that or not. Not good in Venezuela. So people are looking to get the F out of Dodge. And when you've got sanctuary cities saying, come to us. They're going there. And they're getting bus rides paid for by Texas. And this is what everybody wants. But now, all of a sudden, sanctuary cities, you've got Let's Go Brandon Johnson in Chicago basically standing, no more. I know we said we were a sanctuary city, but we don't have the capacity anymore. So as the beds empty out, we'll bring new people in. The rest of you guys, you're going to have to live in a tent. You're going to have to live. You're going to have to live in a tent. You're going to have to live in a warming shelter. You're going to have to live on the sidewalk. And that's what people are doing. And then, you get stories of, it doesn't smell very good. That's what happens. You ever been to a homeless encampment? Doesn't smell very good either. You can smell it from a ways away. You're just like, oh, yeah. Speaking of homeless encampments, I had a text from Andrea Suarez last night, and I said I'd share the story. Her team, We Heart Seattle, go to their website, donate to them. They're 100%. They've collected over 1 million tons, I think, 1 million tons of garbage. Like, it's just some astronomical 1 million pounds of garbage. I don't know. It's a lot of garbage. They were out checking out. They were doing a cleaning, and they came across a dead body that had been there, oh man, since before the pandemic. It's just bones at this point in time. They found garbage going back right in that area, going back to like 2015. So who knows? I mean, that can tend to make a homeless encampment not smell the greatest either. But We Heart Seattle, with this whole storyline, they've come across, I think it's 14 bodies, decomposing bodies in their cleanups of the homeless encampments. So, there's kind of one more reason to not allow people to live just willy-nilly wherever, do their drugs and expect everything to be fine, because people are dying literally. They found 2 already in 2024. So the southeastern part of the park was also littered with spilled food and plastic containers. Now, the plastic containers are a big issue with the homeless community. And you know what? Since New York City, in their point in time count, their PIT count, which counts all the homeless folks, and they get money from the feds based on that homeless count, New York City counted all the illegal immigrants in there as well. Hey, tricky. I mean, just the shenanigans that are going on, right? Shenanigans that are going on where people are forced to poop in a park and leave their urine in a cup, and here you go. Have some Mountain Dew. Yeah. So some guy says, I've cut out this part of my daily walk because of the filth, said neighbor Michael Bartley, 73. I don't blame you, Michael. I think that's probably a pretty good call. There are several thousand people coming to this end of the park with no place to use the bathroom. Yeah, basic logistics, folks. Basic logistics. You are not... I had that on the screen for a long time, didn't I? Pretty gross. You ever go to a concert? I know I talk a lot about concerts because that's where the vast majority of my porta potty experience comes in. Other than being on the road as a real estate appraiser and you're in a new construction development, yep, I got it. So I got to drive 45 minutes home, back to the office. Kind of got to go. I'll just use the porta potty. I've used hundreds of porta potties over the year. And I might even be a porta potty aficionado. That one we just saw there, this one, it's actually this one right here on the screen. Not good. These are the ones they took out. They took out. If they're going to bring them here, talking about the illegals, they should have some sanitation people here, he said. Cops are here. Big effing deal. Guardian Angels founder Curtis Silwa, a former Lower East Side resident, ripped Mayor Adams for welcoming migrants with open arms, only for his administration to funnel them into neighborhoods without providing any clear aid or plans for handling the sudden influx of hundreds or even thousands of people. So the people that do the virtue signaling, they're not good on executing plans. That's not their forte. They just love their fellow human being, right? Virtue signaling. Until they're pooping all over their park and they don't have the we busted the budget. We had a budget and now we're spending how many billion on all the folks that Texas bust into our fine city. Now they're suing the bus companies. Now those bus companies are suing back. It's just shenanigans left and right that didn't need to be. All you had to do is secure that southern border a little bit more. And with the whole Venezuela thing, so United States doesn't have diplomatic relations with Venezuela. And so when the Venezuelans would start coming to the border during this most recent time period, and the United States let them in because we don't have the ability to go to their consulate or whatever, their government and have a back and forth. We just, and I don't think anybody's having a real back and forth with the government and, what government in Venezuela. So the Venezuelans realized, oh, okay, because of the way those relations have gone, the United States is going to let us in. When word went out, they're going to let us in, no questions asked. Really? I mean, seriously? Then they started coming in droves. And then other people came from other countries because they're getting in. They're all getting in. They're getting their piece of the American dream. Meanwhile, American citizens, the taxpayers that are paying for all of this, yeah, their neighborhoods are literally getting crapped on. So we've got, he's the swagger man with no plan. We're talking about the Guardian Angels founder. He's talking about Eric Adams. He's the swagger man with no plan. I would 100% agree with that. But it's not just Mayor Eric Adams. It's all of the leaders. How about the Mike Johnston from Denver? What is going on with that guy? That guy's going to do a little testy test to see if the law from, I think it was 1990 immigration law, which stated private companies can't hire migrants who are in the process of getting their work visa. They can't hire them before they get that visa. And the mayor of Denver he's throwing out, hey, let's just have them work for the city. This should be fine. What could go wrong here? Let's just have them work for the city. It'll be fine. I mean, I can see one or two issues. You know what I mean? Again, I say shenanigans because that's what these folks are doing. But one of his big considerations, and I found this super interesting, is that everybody's kind of planning for, well, if Trump wins, you might have some rethinking and reimagination of immigration policy. You might have reimagining and rethinking of deportation. Yeah, I was watching Black Conservative Perspective. Greg, I really enjoy his show because I typically always end up with coming to the same conclusion that he does on whatever topic, but we just come from just kind of different backgrounds to get there. And he was saying, hey, all of these folks that are in the United States that are military-aged single men, there are so many of them from South America, Central America, all over the world. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing for their own countries. They want to get the F away from their country because the mandatory armed service, whatever it is, whatever they're running from, they're ending up here. And he's saying, hey, deport them all. I hope when Trump comes in, deport them all. Just get rid of them. Deport them all. I know there's a lot of people out there that say the same thing. Deport them all. What's that going to look like? Yeah, shenanigans, right? But it's. I think you're going to hear a lot of people talking about, well, if Trump doesn't end up in prison, one of his many, many ridiculous court cases, he might win the presidency. Biden, is he still there at all? He looks just kind of, and he's. Those are our two options. Those are our plan A and plan B, right? Trump and Biden. He's the swagger man with no plan. Everything he does, it's a knee-jerk reaction with no follow-up, Silva said. I agree. I mean, there's no plan here. What are you doing in the neighborhood to make it easier for them to absorb the migrants? Susan Stetzer, district manager for community board number 3, said, Parks workers removed the Tompkins porta potties last week because they were being trashed. Do you think it might have had to do with you've got, 14,000 people all using the same John? Do you think that might be part of it? To the point where they could not be maintained. Well, that's when you bring in a new one, guys. That's what you do. Oh, it's costing you some money? This is what you wanted. This is part and parcel of what you wanted as a sanctuary city. So now you're getting it and you don't like it? I'm sorry. Tough. This is the deal. There are consequences for your actions and you are ending up with them and you're literally ending up with human poop. That's bottom line here, right? The portable bathrooms were installed in Tompkins last year to provide relief while the Parks Field House is undergoing an 18-month renovation. Well, maybe you should have considered that in with your logistics. with your civic logistics when you're going to bring in all these people. I think that, one of the underlying reasons that these people thought they could get away with all this was that they didn't realize that Greg Abbott had a plan with bus after bus after bus from Texas to wherever these people wanted to go. It's not like Abbott is sending people on buses to places they don't want to go. They literally voluntarily get on these buses, and the citizens of Texas are paying for them to get to where they want to be. They want to be in New York City because New York City has said, we are a sanctuary city. We've always been welcoming of the immigrant population. It's a city based on immigration, immigrants coming. I mean, it's just, that's the deal. But now that you're getting some more of, slightly more than what you wanted, and you just go tilt. It's like, you need to figure it out. You need to come up with a game plan. The only game plan I've really seen is them begging for federal funds. Right? We need some help over here. The bathrooms are an issue. We've tried to engage administration regarding this. We have not, as of this moment, been successful. She said, if you got poop in your human poop in your park, that's not a sign of success. She added that migrants continuing to congregate outside in freezing temperature was a humanitarian crisis. Yeah, it is. It is. Figure it out. Come up with something. Sanctuary city folks, you guys need to let these people into your homes. This is what you wanted. Oh, this isn't what you wanted? This is what your politicians wanted? Well, you voted them into office, so this is what you wanted. And now you don't like it? Well, you kind of created your own humanitarian crisis. So fix it. Figure it out. The migrants, mostly from West Africa and South America, and who are among the more than 100,000 who have been in the city's care since spring of 2022, said they've been blocked by intake center staff from using the building's restrooms. It's mind-blowing, right? Just shenanigan after shenanigan. So what did you think would happen if you're blocking what few other additional restrooms in the area are available? What did you think would happen to the porta potties outside? When you want to go to the toilet at the re-intake center, so this is a re-intake center, meaning these are people that have been kicked out from wherever. They're going to the re-intake center. That's what the Roosevelt Hotel is. So they got to wait there because they need housing somewhere. And they're sleeping on the sidewalks or tents or whatever. Sometimes people tell you, this is after you want to go to the restroom at the re-intake center, sometimes people tell you, no, you can't use that. Said one man who gave his name as Abu Salim, you have to go out here. So it's not like there's a porta potty right over there and you're at the show and, you've been basically out of your mind for the last 2 hours. You might have had one or two more adult cocktails than, your body can handle. And you just go somewhere knowing there's a porta potty right over there. That happens at times, right? It's not like that. These folks don't really have any options. They're like, well, there's a treat. Guess I'm going. A park spokesman said porta potties are difficult to maintain and clean. Really? How? Really? Because I've seen them. They look basic enough. You just got to clean it a lot if you got a lot of people using it. And these are people living on the streets. These are people eating food that they're not used to. There's going to be some issues. You know what I mean? I mean, these are just basic human concepts. They're difficult to maintain and clean, but that a public restroom operated by the agency was available at McKinley Playground, roughly 7 minutes away. If you really got to go and you got to walk there 7 minutes, sorry, tree's looking excellent. You're just going to go. And that's how you wind up with this, right? The spokesperson for the mayor's office said that they were aware about complaints regarding a lack of showers and bathrooms, but added that many migrants are choosing to line up when they do not have to. Maybe because you haven't communicated to them what the deal is, and maybe because they don't speak English. So you come into the country. You've got no money. You've got no job. You've got no way of supporting yourself. You've got no support system. You can't speak English. You've got no restrooms. You've got the few restrooms that you had, porta potties, taken away. What's that end up in? It's not that hard to figure out, guys, right? It's just not. It's just not. Many are sleeping outside and standing in line despite space at short-term holding centers. Well, with everything that I've seen, kind of with all these sanctuary cities, it's just one inevitable cluster, you know what, after another. I mean, Brandon Johnson, nah, we're not building any more shelter for you guys. We're just going on as people exit the shelters, we can bring more in. So the rest of you guys, even though we're a sanctuary city, you guys are on your own because we don't have the budget for it anymore. Just can't do it. And this is in the middle of winter. Now, what they have done is they've got the 30-day expulsion for single males, and then they've got the 60-day expulsion for families. You can be in the shelter system for 60 days, and then you got to re-up and come back through. And that's what these re-intake centers are all about. So it's winter. It is deadly cold, literally deadly cold. And on top of that, you've got weather. It's talking about all the things that these folks are facing. And you've got weather that they're not used to dealing with. It's freezing cold. So, when somebody takes number 2 in the park, that's kind of the least of their worries. But this is what's going on. This is the schematic of what this looks like. You've got all these folks that have said, bring them to us. Well, they're not saying bring them to us anymore. And now the constituents are getting upset. I was going to say pissed, but this is a G-rated show here. Well, I mean PG. We swear every now and then, but it's only in the context of what is needed. So, all right, well, that's about all I've got for you here, but this is what's going on. Is it shocking? It's not shocking to me. Let me know in the comments. Love to have you subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit the, all that good stuff. Thanks in advance. We'll catch up with you on the next poop story. Bye for now.
Angel. Okay. So don't complain, okay? I have to tape it your butt. Don't poo anymore, okay? Don't poo. I'm gonna get you a diaper. Okay, Angel? Diaper. Okay? I'll get you a diaper, okay? Okay. Don't complain.